Okay, so it may not happen,
We
but
can always record and put it.
start the session. Hello, everyone. Today we have a very special guest with us. She's Seema ma'am, Seema Sheikh ma'am. She's the principal of Pragna Bodhini High School in Goregaon. So she has been a great support for us, throughout the journey, because she shares her insights many times with us, and she guides us in order to, like, what are her thoughts on teacher education, what is she redefines teacher education, redefines assessments. So that is why this session has been planned under teacher education vertical. And this is kind of exclusive session for all of you, where people who really want to work with teachers or work on teacher education. So she will help you to understand how do we visualize the role of teacher in the new context, which is during and after the pandemic. It's my pleasure to welcome Seema ma'am here and all of you. So if you have any questions for Seema ma'am for us, you can mention it in the chat box and we will take it up. But I would like to start Seema ma'am's session here now. So hello ma'am.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So should we begin?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I'm a little scared to start the video for the simple reason that the bandwidth is so poor, but still I'll start because I feel more connected. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Nice to have all of you all over here to share your thoughts, because I believe that every teacher, whether she is a new generation teacher or an experienced one, every teacher has a lot to share. And that's why we'll appeal to all of you that as the talk proceeds, I will love to hear a lot from you. I'll wait for the chat box. I don't mind even if you on your microphones and put across a few things and ask and discuss, because let us make it a very, very interactive session. For myself, let me tell you that I am working since last 38 years in this field of education, and working in the capacity of, I have worked in the capacity of a teacher, and then as a principal, and now as a teacher educator also since last almost 15 to 20 years. So I will like to share my experiences and what I look out for in today's what you call as the new norm. But before I talk about this new norm, can I get a hear from you all as to what, according to you, are the challenges of today? Can you all share with me? And I'll be happy if, rather than putting on chats, if you talk, that will be great. Listening to you will be great. You can just on
if
your
you want to talk, you can just raise your hand here, and I will allow you to talk.
Yeah,
I'll
that
have
will
to make that
unmute.
option. Yeah.
See, let us make it very interactive so that your challenges are seen by me and pursued in a better light.
Yes, anybody who wants to share the challenges of being a teacher.
Especially now when you see these things happening, every day something new coming up, new changes happening. Okay, so let me put it across. When we talk of online teaching, because this is the biggest challenge today. And I think that we must really give a kudos to all of us, the teaching community, the teaching fraternity, because it's like a journey from zero to hero. We never had been into technology to this extent. We took technology as one period of computers or of technology where children used to go to the computer room and teach, and the other subject teacher had nothing to do with computers. But today you will find that the entire scene has changed. Every teacher is into technology, because I will say that it's the survival of the fittest, And to remain into this field of education, we all had to upgrade ourselves and equip ourselves with technology. And that's how we started getting into technology. And I must say, when I see across, when people share their videos, they share their learning. Yesterday, I was a part of Google Meet, and I saw this, which was conducted by Hussein, and it was so wonderfully attended by 3,000 participants. So, that kind of a reach now, and those were all educators and even parents involved in it. So I think that gradually technology is going to become, I would say rather, has become a part and parcel of each one of us, our lives. There will be a time that even when we get into the new normal, now we won't be able to do without technology. And that is why it's very essential that we gear ourselves up for it. But then there are definitely challenges, even though we have equipped ourselves. There are challenges as we go on online classes, as we take up learning platforms. Can anyone voice out some of the challenges which you all are facing as you go online on learning platforms? Do you face any challenges?
I myself face a lot of challenges.
Oh, great. So what are they? I call it great because then when there are such challenges, then only we can find solutions, and we can better equip ourselves.
So main problem here is you will have to search each and every tool and or platform, and then understand how to use it. Like there is a learning curve associated with each and every platform, right?
Yeah.
So that seems to be really challenging for me.
Yeah, that is true. That is one thing. Again, as Ayan Banerjee is writing, that yes, internet connectivity. And that is why getting all the children on the online platform becomes a challenge for all of us. And that's how the government now had to take a decision that let's not have online classes for children who are till class 2. Because not only is the internet connection a problem, but also hand holding of these children is an issue because parents are not well equipped with it, and even parents don't have that much of time because now
Ma'am, your
the
video is
schools have
here.
not started. You will find. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you in between. You can switch
Sorry,
off your
I will
video
repeat.
maybe and
Yeah. So what happens is that many a times, though children have the devices, there is no hand holding. And parents don't have the time because even though schools have not reopened, parents have started going for their daily earnings out of their homes. And that is why who is going to support the child even if the device is left at home? And that is why they are not there. Some more remarks have come and I would like to read that. Yes, Manwa says that it is difficult to gauge if students are actually grasping what you are teaching. And it's not a new normal, it's still a sudden change. And many are still facing problems like accessibility and devices at one end. Yes, very true. I agree to this two statements that we are facing this problem because we are not able to gauge whether learning is happening or not. And especially when I am conducting classes for the high class students, high school students, that is 8, 9, 10. Many of the times the children say, oh, I don't have a bandwidth, so ma'am, I'm not going to on my video. And I really don't know whether there is a child on the other side. Has he just kept it over there and doing all his daily chores, or maybe just listening to some music or watching a movie at the other end? So this is definitely a challenge. And as you rightly said, that this is a sudden change. And that is why it's going to take time. In some of the countries, and I know of schools in UK and all where teaching online has been a very normal thing. And that is why they are not facing these challenges of devices or children not understanding or not paying attention. Now, how to combat this? This is what we need to work on. So what we need to do is, as you, one sec, okay, give me a minute's time. Um, if session is not interactive, children get bored. Yeah, very true. That's if the session is not interactive, the children get bored. So today we will try to find solutions for all these things. I will see. We don't have a magic wand which we use so that we get answers to all our questions, but we can definitely give it a try. So what can we do? And I will like to hear from all of you all, rather than just putting in the chats. Does any one of you have some suggestions to combat this kind of a situation? Does anyone have something to say?
I
Please.
have also
Yeah.
experienced one thing, like one of my cousin, she was telling me, okay, so what my child does is, he just keeps it on,
Yeah.
keeps the speaker on, turns off the video, and then he's like all over the house and he's playing. And meanwhile, if he feels that, okay, I want to go and listen, he listens for 5 minutes and then come back, and then he jumps around
Yeah.
and do everything. So that's a
Yeah. This
challenge according to teacher, right?
Yeah, these are some of the challenges, and that is why now we need to think of ways and means how we can overcome these challenges. And I will not say that online teaching is 100% replacement for face to face. Nothing can just replace face to face, because that warmth, that connectivity will definitely not be there to that extent. But some things can definitely be taken care of. We'll surely try to do that. So, what is the first thing that we need to take care of? The first thing that we need to understand as teachers, whether we are senior teachers with, as you call that, as with years of experience, or whether you are a newcomer into this field, yet we need to understand that we have to deal with two aspects now. And the first aspect is uh, what to study, and the second is how to study. Now, these are the two things. We have to decide what should the children study now, what is the need of the hour, and then secondly, how to study. So all said and done regarding the government giving the curriculum every year to us, and we revamping the curriculum.
Ma'am, are you
Or
there?
maybe condensing it or reducing. Can you all hear me? Am I
Uh,
audible?
there was little disturbance, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I will repeat a few things. So what is very essential is that we need to understand that what we need to teach them, so what do the children need to study? And the second is, how do they need to study? The government has provided us a curriculum. The government gives us a syllabus. Today, the syllabus may get condensed. The syllabus may get curtailed. But yet, if we need to meet the requirements of the child, we need to take care of these two aspects. And here's where our real innovation as a teacher comes. Because today, unless we are creative, unless we are innovative, we won't be able to reach out to the children. Someone just wrote that, yes, children get bored. Children should not get bored. If they get bored, they are going to leave, or they are not going to switch off the video, or they may just keep on roaming about in the house and not pay attention to what is happening, and may just visit us for a while to show that, yes, I am present over here. And that is why we need to alter our teaching patterns. So let's start thinking about how we can alter our teaching patterns and what are we going to teach our children. So are today's subjects like English, history, geography, math, science only enough? I think in this lockdown period, when we really cannot have face-to-face meets, we need to look at the subjects that we are going to teach also in a different light. So let us see what subjects do we need to teach. And before I go to these subjects, I would like to share with you that some time back, I saw a video sometime back, means today morning, you know. I saw a video by a journalist, Mr. Atul Kulkarni, who has put up a video about how the ZP teachers are taking education ahead. And if you all don't mind, makeshift, I will share that video with you, Sharvari and Ruchira, so that you will realize how much of work is going on in the rural India, because we feel that only we are having challenges. But I see that ZP schools have found solution.
Yes.
There is Mr. Desle from Solapur, who has created almost 50 videos for science, where new innovations in science he has delivered for the students of different classes. There is Mr. Anand and his videos. I think Mr. Anand is from Nasik. I'm not very sure, or Palghar, I think. So Mr. Anand, what he has done is that Anand sir has tried to teach the children grammar through his videos, which are animated through cartoons. Now, can anyone think of teaching language and grammar, functional grammar through cartoons? And the Mahanagar Palika also took notice of this, and you will see that today, if you go on Diksha app, I think this is put up. One more person from, I think, from Nasik, he has prepared a video on with 9,000 question papers related to different subjects, especially maths, which are put up on the, I think he has called it as a Navodaya app. And on that, you will get 9,000 question papers set, you know, especially for maths. So this kind of learning is happening in ZP. And I think if in rural area like Shirur, like Palghar, like Nasik, like Pune, Sholapur, if teachers from there can think of such innovation for their children, and there are 3 ladies in this, and there are, Mr. Atul speaks about this, journalist has spoken about 12 such empowering teachers. So I think we should see what they are doing, and if we see that, we really feel, oh my God, even we can do it. And someone was talking about children getting bored. Children will not get bored if these kind of videos are shared with them, and then learning will surely happen, you know. So how to find a solution is in our hands, and what enables us to find it is our passion as a teacher. So let us try to be more passionate, and once that passion is there within us, I think it drives us to be more innovative, to be more ready to take up challenges. Talking about what subjects now, what to study now at this particular junction and juncture, I'm going to talk about that now. But before I talk, I would like to hear from you. What, according to you, do you feel are the subjects that we need to take ahead now, right now? And not just your academics. What children need more now?
This is really interesting question. I think children need very different things rather than math, science, English, and other subjects. But maybe they need more of social science right now, or human factors, or art, or something very engaging.
Right. Very true. That they need something which is very engaging. Now, what is this that will keep them engaging, at the same time empower them to be the world citizens? You know, today we need to come out of that, what I will say, a very, very shallow thought of making our children just academically strong. We have to make them, and you know, so empowered that once they go into the outside world, they are not aliens. They are able to align with the outside world. They don't feel, oh my God, where have I landed? What is this? This is not what I was taught in school. There is one chat from Jovi, and I would like to read that. It's wonderful. I think subjects should transform more into topics: taxes, stock markets, soft skills, communication skills, vocational training, topics which can make them more financially independent and not simply academically qualified. Wonderful,
Wow.
wonderful. And this is what is needed, because finally, money does matter. Just 3 days back, I came across, not 3 days back, it was 1 week back that I came across. 3 days back, I received. 1 week back, I came across a set of books called Money Matters. And it has a set of 8 books, I think, which talks about how, as parents and as educators, you can help and equip your children, enable them to handle money. And I really felt that in India, this is not what we do. We don't teach children to handle money. And that's how our children then sometimes become either misers or spendthrift. We need to find out the midpoint. And then I ordered for those books, and just 3 days back, I got the book. And those books are so wonderful. And I'm very happy that, Joey, you brought up this point, that we really need to make our children understand economics in a different light. When children think of economics, they feel, oh, that means I will have to go for arts if I want to understand economics. Or if I take commerce, nowadays for commerce, economics has become one subject. In our times, it wasn't there, But it should not be limited to that. Economics is essential even for a housemaker. How to run the house throughout the day so that on the 30th of every month, she has some money left for a rainy day. And that's how our children should be trained. And this training should be happening right from, when they enter into the school. And that is something which we really need to take up. So as we are talking about the shifts, so this, as you say, I also term it as a 21st century skill, which we really need to take ahead. So let us think about some 21st century skills. Definitely, at my topmost priority is communication and collaboration. Our children, however academically equipped they will not be successful unless they are able to communicate with others very effectively. And then, what is needed for communication? It's not just language. It is not just the content knowledge. Yes, Shilpa, what you say is they lack self-assimilation, and I'm rightly coming to that point now. They need something more than that. They need self-awareness. They need self-actualization and assimilation. They need also, and finally, they need self-management. So when you talk of communication and collaboration, you will indirectly and automatically also have to look into these areas of learning, which at times were termed as, these are subjects related to art faculty only. No, these are subjects related to life skills, and that is why we need to teach our children about this. So this is one very, very important aspect. Seeing to the limit of time, I will not go into details of it, but otherwise you will see that this communication has to be taken in so many different forms, because it's communication with your own self, communication with your immediate surrounding, communication with your community, and communication with the world. So all these things matter when you talk about communication. Talking about collaboration, I'm going to talk a little bit about collaboration a little later, where I'm going to talk about you as teachers, how you need to collaborate with your children, and we as teachers, I should say rather, we as teachers, how we need to collaborate with so many others with whom we need to be constantly communicating. The other area which I feel is very important, is that of intercultural learning. We constantly keep on saying that today we live in a global village. But then, are we training our children to be a part of this global village and be global citizens? I don't think that that is what we are really taking ahead. So when we say that we want our children to be global citizens, what do they need to know first? Are we making them globally competent, or just saying that we want them to be global citizens? So what is the first thing, according to you, that we need to equip our children with when we talk of making them globally competent? Can anyone think of it? I love to hear from you. Let us make it very interactive so that learning will happen for me too. Because see, I have come to this point because talking about all the skills, the first is definitely communication. Beyond that also we need to talk. But as I thought of this global competency, let us understand what is needed if we want to make our children globally competent. What is the first requirement? Yes, problem solving and decision making. Yes, very true, very true. I totally agree that we need this problem solving attitude. And when will this problem solving attitude come into us? You know, and how can we create it in our students? This can happen, problem solving can happen only when we make our children critical thinkers. So let us train our children to wear all the 6 thinking hats. We always say, oh, this person will think like this person will think like this, or I always think like this. But we all can think in a very, very diversified way by wearing all the 6 different thinking hats. So making our children critical thinkers, making them deep thinkers, making them think with different perspectives. And how this thinking will happen? What do we need to do that? To develop this skill even when we are online? You know, the kind of questions that we put across to the children. So I'm very sure, yes, thank you, Shilpa. It definitely leads to knowledge creation. That is what you're saying, yeah. 6 thinking hat leads to knowledge creation, and it leads us to think in diversified ways also. And then what happens is, I'm sure you must be all aware about the Bloom's taxonomy, and that's where our skill as teacher lies. Are we going to keep ourselves restricted to the basic component of remembering and understanding? Yes, you spoke about empathy also. Yes, someone talking about empathy. Definitely, Liz, it does teach us. And with that, sorry, I missed. It does teach us empathy also. So what happens is that when we are asking questions to our children, these questions make them reflect. This reflection is very important. And making our children reflective thinkers will lead to a lot of understanding. And then in them, they can develop global competency, which is so very important. You know, children need to be globally competent to be a part of this global world. And as I said, communication is definitely there. But along with it, we need so many other things. As we spoke just now, we spoke sorry, Jovi, ma'am, what are the 6 thinking hats, and have you come across games or fun activities that can be done for children in the smaller grades to create curiosity in them through self-questioning? Yes, the think, pair, share activity. We have the think, pair, share activity, and there are so many games, Jovi, which I will definitely share with Makeshift, and I'm sure they will share with you, which you can take ahead. But coming to this point of questioning, yes, self-questioning or reflection is something which we really need to look into so that children become thinkers. The second thing is, yes, and about the 6 thinking hats, It's a big module which will take long, so I will definitely discuss it with you all on some other at some other time. Right now, let us focus on how we are going to equip ourselves so that our online sessions do not get boring. Six Thinking Hat uh, is a brainchild of Edward D. Bono, and that's why the book is called as Six Thinking Hats. And there are 2 to 3 books based on that, and each book is very interesting and makes you also a better thinker. So talking about decision making, we spoke about communication and about global competency. But the first thing that we need to develop in our children, and this we can very well do through our online teaching, when we talk about global competency, that the first thing that we need to do is the cultural awareness, making them interculturally competent. Because today when we are going online, we will definitely have people from various backgrounds and culture. Today we are on this platform, each one belonging to so many different states. I don't know, maybe other country also. I just don't know about it. But yes, what is very essential, that we all respect each other. But when will I be able to respect? When will you be able to respect? When will we be able to respect each other? When we understand each other's culture. Yes, Shilpa, I will just see what your chat has to say. Yes, working in team, taking turns in discussion talks. Yes, these are the cultural norms of today. But when I talk about the intercultural learning, because every individual is born with, yes, and team building among students is very important, and that is also a part of our global competency, because that is what is collaboration. So when we talk about, you know, building this intercultural competency, the first thing is awareness. We need to be aware about different cultures. And otherwise what happens, you know, sometimes we have cultural shocks, sometimes we have surprises, sometimes we have irritations. All these are nothing but cultural shocks, cultural surprises, and cultural irritations. And to enable to combat all this and become you know, one with all this, and accommodate all this, we need to have this intercultural competency, for which we really need to work on it. And this can be done with our students by someone from the ZP school, expose the children to all the through virtual classes to the different countries and their culture. A ZP school, I think the Shirur school, they have just done it. This lady, I think Sunita, her name is, she has done it, taking them through 12 countries. So we can definitely do that, and having a then we can, I always believe in the die model. Has anyone heard about the die model? Has anyone heard about the die model? If you have heard, please share with me, because I will love to hear your perceptions on that, because that is also one kind of a cultural learning. Because you know what happens, culture is very different. It is like an iceberg. What you see is just the tip, but there is so much underneath. And that is why we need to make our children understand that, because today there is so much of polarization. So if we want our children to understand all these things, this is now the right time to make them see these things through online, that how cultures are different, and that is why people react differently. So there is nothing good or bad. At times there is even nothing as right and wrong, but it is just because their culture is different. Shaking hands may be very you know, very common in some cultures, or kissing on the cheeks, but it may be very offensive in some cultures. So it is just a difference in culture. So making people understand this. So when I say the die model, yes, Shilpa, you are very right. It will develop a positive self-esteem, having multiple perspectives, and this positivity will enable the children to work very positively, and then they won't just switch off the video and move around, you know. So when I say the die model, the D stands for the description, the I for the interpretation, and the E for the evaluation. So what we see, many times, and today when the media is like that, you know, it just doesn't describe. It also interprets and also comes to a conclusion. And that is why people go haywire. But now is the time when you can show movies to the children. Small movies, short movies of 3 minutes and 4 minutes, which have lot of hidden messages, and put across your questions for them. And it will be so interesting. You must have heard about school cinema. If you have not, you must see that. Or you must have heard about Hema Foundation, where they talk about a lot of movies, and they have a lot of movies. And Hema Foundation, I don't know, they must be hardly charging anything. Or I don't know, they don't even charge, I feel. And then Sultan, who works with school cinema, and who has this year gone, you know, international cinema. So I worked with them for 4 years, with my students rather, showing the movies. So through that, you show one movie and children get fully engrossed. Then there is no question of just switching off the video or just going away. And children then were sent a questionnaire, and that is what we are doing since last 1.5 months, with fabulous responses. And now children also from last week have started creating their own videos of 1 minute, filming it, you know, making a film out of it about, and the topic that we have taken is nexus of good. So there is good around you, just try to search for it. So these kind of things can now be done, because now is the time to explore and do so many beautiful things. They will learn about the culture, they will understand. And you know what, I always believe that sometimes what happens, people are unconscious about their incompetencies. They are not even aware what they don't know of. Our children lie into that zone at times, you know. So we have to make them aware that these are the things that you need to know. So then the thirst will be created. But if they remain in that zone of unconsciousness of their incompetencies, then they will keep on feeling, oh, there is no need of doing anything new, because this is what I've learned. But the moment they come to know, this is something that I don't know. It's like a child's curiosity getting ignited, and we need to ignite that curiosity. One more thing which I feel that in this online sessions, the subject wise, when I say, we can really, really go ahead with peace education. I'm very glad to tell you that peace education is something which is so close to my heart. So we started working on it almost 5 years back, and we have started building it. So now with the help of my content developers and teachers, we have created almost 48 activities which can be done in 2 to 3 minutes or maximum 10 minutes in the class. Just to send a message across that yes, peace is a solution for so many things. And children really understand that, and now they have debates on it, why peace is so essential and important. So I think that now can be the right time where you can children, where they understand, because you know they are now frustrated. 100 days at home is not an easy task for children, you know, staying at home, especially if you are working with children like my school children, where many of them live in 10 by 10 rooms with 5-6 members in the house. They must be perhaps getting very suffocated, but yet they are so positive because they are doing this so much of learning in different ways. All that we do is we keep on sending videos and then lot of questions for them to think. So this thinking keeps on going, happening. So I think that these things really bring about a change. Above all, one more aspect which I think that nowadays online teaching, through that we can do. And then of course, yeah, that is leadership. Conduct a lot of activities related to leadership. I told my children one day that yes, today what you are going to do, I told my teachers to take it ahead. Ask your children that you be the chef of the house and not a sous chef. Okay, sous chef is the one who works underneath the orders of the chef. So you are not going to be a sous chef. You are going to be the chief chef of the house and start cooking. So it let be a simple dal rice, but you are going to cook. And let me share with you, even third standard children are cooking and do a fantastic job. So taking up that leadership. So leadership in different areas. Your leadership this week will be organizing the kitchen for your mom. You know, children develop so many skills, organizational skills, when they take up this thing. It's not an easy task to arrange a kitchen, but give that task. And then asking them to do things. Suppose if I tell the children that, okay, you have to make a cup of tea. And if they say, yes, we know how to make a cup of tea. Okay, you have made it. But now what you are going to do is, you are going to write down the process of making tea. And see, the child is now thinking how to write. Let me share with you, when in the school also, when we would ask the children to write the processes, came in very jumbled forms, you know. But then I said, okay, all the ingredients, if they are kept on the table, will you know what has to be made out of it? Your mummy will say, so many ingredients are there. I don't know what you want me to do. So first you need to know the name of the item that you are going to make. And then the ingredients from this. Are you going to keep all the ingredients on the table? No, you are going to have a selection of few. So pick out those few and have their ingredient list prepared. Gradually children started doing that. So I think that's how they learn to do the process mapping. And I think process mapping helps you right till you enter even into the corporate world, you know, right from your kitchen to the corporate. You know, kitchen is the best place, and a person who is very good in kitchen management can rule the world, because the organization skills get a finer finesse here. And that's how you can teach your children in their own homes. They can. That is what home science is all about, making you more equipped, more skillful, more knowledgeable, and more. And you know, then when a child starts cooking, he sees, oh, what does my mom like? What does my dad like? Let me cook this, let me cook that. So this is how empathy, which today we really feel a challenge, how to train children in empathy. And then, yes, collaboration, which again I will come to that point. But what I feel is, above all, we need to teach compassion. And how are we going to teach compassion? How are we going to go ahead with this compassion? We can go ahead with compassion. You know how? Can anyone share with me how we can go ahead with compassion? Can anyone tell me? Please share with me one idea. See, we are here to share. If you share with me, I can spread it with my kids. You know, I can take it ahead.
We lost
Yes.
you for a moment. So,
Sorry. Yeah. I just want to know, because I said that most important thing that we need to teach our children is compassion. So
again,
I put across a question. I want to learn from you. How can we become compassionate and make our children compassionate? Can all of you hear me?
yes.
Yes. So can you tell me how we can make our children compassionate? Talking and building emotional connections. Yes. Very nice. Something else. Something else beyond this? Maybe an
Show
exposure.
kindness, listen to others.
Yeah, listening. Yeah, listening is very, very important. Today, why so many suicides? Because people don't have people to listen to them. By showing by our own examples, yes. Maybe an exposure and activity that takes students to a site or a set of people who are more underprivileged. So yes, making them realize how privileged they are. Yes. So understanding that, empathy is created. Yes. Shall I share something? Listening is a must. Yes, Shilpa, I agree to that. Let me tell you how, you know, what I feel.
And
yes,
I
starts from
think,
home. Yes.
I think start from yourself.
Yes, yes. But how?
That is
Now my
also,
question is how? Starting from self is how. So let me share with you this one thing. Sometimes I watch the teachers. I go to so many schools to observe the lessons of teachers. So many schools call me, ma'am, can you come to just observe the lessons of our teachers? A teacher is giving a fabulous lesson. You know, she's teaching so well and all. But, and I go to 8th standard, 7th standard, even to 1st standard and 2nd standard. Sometimes I'm called to observe the PTA meetings, that ma'am, please be there so that our PTA meetings run smoothly, you know. So for this reason, and you know why schools are scared with PTA meetings? Because I feel that empathy is lost on both sides, and then there is totally a customer and you know, a supplier kind of a relation at times, and that is why we see that there are so many you know,
Yes.
I shouldn't use that word, yeah, but bad. But I let me share, when I visit here, the throughout I find a teacher has given a beautiful lesson, but you know, her donation is always like, so children, what did I tell you, and what did you learn from this? Are you going to do it tomorrow? I would like to see it. So I feel that children are treated as small kids, I don't know, who don't understand anything, and the teacher's tone is always so authoritative. You know, there is no what I call it as treating the child as an adult is not happening. Always there are summons given, I want you to do this, and throughout the lesson I find so many times there is a no factor coming in. You should not do this, you should not do that, this is not right, this is incorrect. So constantly reprimanding the child and giving suggestions. So I feel that we should not be teaching, but as someone just now rightly put it, that co-learning should happen amongst the children. Give them an, yes, co-learning with students is very important. And yes, and
Yeah.
sometimes, as someone has put that, appreciate the teachers in front of our children. That is also very important, to develop that compassion and connectivity with the teacher, which many times parents do not do. But I feel that as teachers, we also need to be thinking twice when we talk to the children. Are we
Yes.
really talking with him as adults? Are we giving him a chance to think about it? Even when we go as principals to observe the lesson of a teacher, rather than telling the teacher how good or bad was the lesson, if we ask the teacher, how will you like to rate your lesson on a scale of 1 to 10? Or if you say, if I ask you to redo this lesson, what changes would you like to make? The teacher starts reflecting. And that is where empathy comes in. But the moment you say, you should have done like this and this was not the right way to do, the teacher, though she may not utter it, behind our back, she is going to go to the staff room and say, इसका क्या जाता है, ये 8 घंटे 5 घंटे खड़े रह के सीखा है, बाद में पता चलेगा. You know, this kind of a thought goes around and talks go around in the staff room then. So the way we reciprocate and give our feedback to the children,
Yes.
to our colleagues, to our subordinates, these are very
We
important.
lost you, ma'am.
And I think if our feedbacks and our questions, if they are in the, yeah. So if our feedbacks and our questions, now also when your children online give some work, give a lot of feedback to them, you know, so that they feel,
Yes.
oh, my teacher is there to see what I'm doing. And then they will get more involved into it. And then finally, I know Ruchira and Sharvari, I must be, yeah, Dead Poets Society cinema, wonderful, wonderful cinema. And I think every educator must see it. And I always tell my teachers, and I've shown it to my teachers so many times. So please, all those who have not seen it, please go to the, I don't know what, YouTubes or whatever, you will find that movie. And it's wonderful. So the last part, I know I must be running short of time. How much time do I have?
Actually, it's over, but you can continue.
So just I'll take 5 minutes. The last part, yes, you must give me one more opportunity to talk to these people.
Yes,
So
yes, obviously. We would love to have you again and interact with all of us.
yeah. And the last part that I would like to say is about collaboration. You know, collaboration is such a challenge today, because we always expect our children to collaborate. Just now, someone said, that yes, collaboration. So, and you know, last week or maybe 15 days before, our Prime Minister also told us to be Atmanirbhar. Now, what is Atmanirbhar? Is to be self-reliant. So as teachers, how do we become self-reliant? We have already started doing it by empowering technology, you know, by getting technologically empowered. But at the same time, we need to make our children empowered. So how are we going to make our children empowered? Now start adopting the practice of self-learning for your kids. Let them self-learn, and you just be the mentor and the facilitator, even on online. So let the children read the lesson. Let them ask you the difficult words. Show them how they can use the dictionary or go online and search for their answers. Look out for their queries. And get them into the research mode gradually. Flipped classroom is a wonderful method. But we in India are still not adopting it. We need to adopt that. Form groups. I know that now in this lockdown it is difficult, but yesterday when I was hearing the Google Meet and Hussein was saying that some of the children of some school today, because now Google Meet has even made that facility where children can you know, really make a project through social distancing also, and he presented that. So just go on the Google Meet and search for it on the Google Learning platform. And even Microsoft has it. So children can work like that and create their own projects like that. So this collaboration is very, very essential. But I will say that collaboration should not remain only restricted to our students. We as teachers also need to do. But it's very sad, but it's a very, I will say it's a harsh truth, that we as educators also sometimes do not collaborate with our colleagues. There is always this feeling, why should I share? I am going to do it for my class. You know, let us not think of my class. All children across the globe are our children. Yes, break rooms are there, and break rooms really help us to do wonderfully, you know. I recently attended it on QCO chats also. So unhealthy competitions, right? We all should evade those. You know, we should just not get into it. I heard something wonderful from Arun Vaklu sir, who leads this compassionate group, where he says, let us not compete. Let us not compete. I would like to end my talk on this note. Let us not compete. Let us remember there is one L in between. Only if we collaborate, we will be complete. That was so beautiful, you know. Let us all be complete by collaborating with each other, sharing our learning. No one can take away our learning, as Swami Vivekananda has said. The more you learn, the more you get. You know, the more you share, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. And this is what we all need as educators. And let us make it possible for our kids also. So today I tell all my ward schools also, I am going to put across that whatever lesson plans I have made, take it, use it. And whatever you are making, share it with my teachers. You all may have done perhaps much, would like to learn from you and share it with my teachers. My teachers are making some lovely videos which are more to do with life skills. And if you want, you can just take it and take it ahead. Because some child in some corner of the world, if it is going to benefit that child, there will be no other pleasure than that, you know, for me, to take it ahead in that way. So it was wonderful talking to you all. If you have any questions, I think Ruchira and
we have form for them, so they can put their questions and we will share them with you. It is always wonderful to listen to you. So I met ma'am last year in Compassion Conference, and since then she's always supporting us, and whenever we need, we just call her and she's always there. In spite of all her work, she takes time and she does everything for us, and it's always wonderful to listen to you. We are really, like, you know, all participants are also overwhelmed, and we are also overwhelmed by listening to you and your insights, and we are really looking forward to have you again with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure to be with all of you all. And next time I would like all of you all to even talk and not just chat. Let us.
I
Yes,
shall schedule a meeting then, not a webinar,
yes,
because we were
yes.
planning to go live and it did not happen.
No
So
problem.
that's why we scheduled webinar. But next time I'll
Yeah.
keep that in mind to
Yeah,
make the
yeah,
session interactive.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
this session should go live actually. Like it would have benefited so many people. We will upload YouTube link on Facebook now,
Yeah. Thank you
which we
so much.
usually don't do.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot, ma'am.
So
Thank
much.
you very
Thanks
much.
a
Thank
lot,
you.
ma'am.
The
Yeah.
next
Bye,
session is
dear.
starting on creative pedagogy. That's on Skype. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.